The warning. The Great Hall of the Galactic Council was a cathedral of light and sound, carved into the hollowed heart of a drifting megastructure older than most civilizations present. Holographic banners of 1,000 species flickered overhead, shimmering with symbols of authority. Delegates filled their hovering seats in tiers that spiraled toward the center, where the council speaker prepared to address the galaxy. "Order," the speaker intoned, his many eyes glowing in the dim chamber. He was Seractol, an elder from a race known for patience and memory. Few things startled him anymore, but humanity had. The chamber grew still. Even the Vulcan hierarchy's warlike delegates hushed as the speaker raised a clawed hand. "We are gathered," he began, "to discuss the matter of Earth, the Terrans, a young species, scarcely a century beyond their first fission engines, and only 5 decades since they pierced the veil of faster-than-light travel. Yet they have already reshaped the balance of our borders. Their colonies expand into harsh systems others abandoned. Their fleets, though small, have routed pirates thought untouchable. They are different." A ripple of murmurs traveled across the tiers. The human ambassador sat quietly near the back, a solitary figure in a dark suit. He did not speak, did not interrupt, merely folded his hands and listened. His silence was louder than words. The speaker's voice grew heavier. "I will not veil the truth. Humanity is dangerous. They are adaptable in ways we cannot fathom. Worlds we deemed uninhabitable, they claim and thrive upon. Where radiation withers us, they endure. Where famine would cull us, they invent solutions. And when threatened, his many eyes swept the hall. They unite." At that, the Xerix Dominion delegate gave a dry laugh, clicking mandibles. "Unite? They bicker among themselves like hatchlings. I have read their history. Endless wars, endless bloodshed. They are fractured and savage. A pack of predators who cannot stop turning on each other. Such a species cannot threaten the Dominion." The Vulcan hierarchy's representative joined in, his scaled body quivering with amusement. "Indeed, what they call adaptability is simply desperation. Their wars are proof of weakness, not strength. A species that thrives on chaos will eventually choke on it." The speaker did not argue. He simply turned to the holographic feed hovering above him. It showed grainy footage. Human soldiers on the colony world of Vera 6, fighting off raiders twice their number. They did not retreat. They improvised, turned mining vehicles into war machines, fought in brutal hand-to-hand combat when their weapons failed. The battle ended in victory, though the ground was littered with human dead. "Do you see?" the speaker asked quietly. "Others retreat from certain death. Humans charge toward it, dragging victory from defeat's jaws. They do not think like us. They do not fear like us. They learn faster than us." The murmurs grew louder. Some species leaned forward, intrigued. Others leaned back, dismissive. A few whispered fearfully in their native tongues. The human ambassador still said nothing. The representative of the Latheri Commonwealth, a species known for pacifism, raised a trembling hand. "What is your recommendation, Speaker?" The Seractol inhaled, his long chest plates rising. "We must tread carefully. I advise strict non-provocation. Do not enslave them. Do not exploit them. Do not assume they are weak. For if we force them to war, they will show us a face none of us wish to see." The hall erupted in arguments. Some shouted for caution, others for opportunity. The Xerix delegate hissed, "They are an upstart species. Nothing more. Let them bare their teeth. We will break them." The Vulcan hierarchy joined with booming laughter. "Humans. They are prey dressing as predators. A gust of hierarchy firepower will scatter them like dust." The speaker lowered his gaze. "You are wrong. They will not scatter. They will burn." In the back, the human ambassador finally stirred. Slowly, deliberately, he stood. Dozens of alien eyes turned toward him. His face revealed nothing. No anger, no amusement, just calm restraint. He inclined his head in a small, polite bow. Then, without a word, he left the chamber. The silence that followed was heavier than any speech he could have given. The speaker exhaled, ancient and weary. "Mark my words," he whispered into the record. "We have warned you. If you refuse to listen, The galaxy itself will bear the cost. Provocation. The Xerix Dominion had never feared anyone. Their fleet stretched across hundreds of systems. Their armies crushed rebellions with ease, and their genetic memory told them that domination was their birthright. When the Galactic Council issued its advisory regarding Earth, the Xerix dismissed it as cowardice. High Warlord HFY stood before his war council, mandibles clicking in irritation as the holographic advisory replayed. Do not provoke humanity. Avoid interference in Terran expansion. The words disgusted him. Fear-mongering, he spat. The Seractol grow senile. These Terrans are a fledgling race, crawling on their knees through the stars. We will show the Council that humans are no threat at all. The others hissed in approval. Their plan was simple. Strike a human frontier colony, enslave its population, and strip the planet's resources. A demonstration. By the time the Council reconvened, the Dominion would present proof, humans broken in chains. The first misstep. The chosen target was Vega 3, a mineral-rich colony of just 20,000 human settlers. The Xerix expected surrender. Instead, resistance met them the moment their fleet descended. The Xerix bombardment knocked out communications and crippled power grids, but the humans refused to yield. Miners armed themselves with laser cutters, farmers wielded plasma welders, and engineers turned bulldozers into makeshift tanks. The Dominion expected chaos. They found grim coordination. A Xerix captain scoffed as the first reports came in. They resist with toys. But those toys slowed the advance. Humans used tunnels to ambush Xerix patrols. Explosives were crafted from mining charges. A Xerix troop carrier was toppled when colonists collapsed a support bridge beneath it. Losses mounted, far beyond projections. High Warlord HFY grew irritated. Send reinforcements. Crush them utterly. The unexpected arrival. The humans did not fight alone for long. Days into the occupation, a Terran Defense Fleet detachment emerged from FTL, only 3 cruisers and a handful of escorts. Against the Xerix's 15 warships, it was laughably inadequate. Yet something happened the Dominion had not prepared for. The Terran cruisers didn't engage conventionally. Instead, they split apart, darting through asteroid fields and debris, using the environment as weapons. One cruiser lured Xerix ships into a crossfire from their own orbital bombardment platforms. Another hacked into Xerix comms, flooding their channels with false retreat orders. And aboard the third cruiser, Captain Amani Reyes made the maneuver that would be studied for centuries. Outnumbered 3-1, she drove her vessel between 2 Xerix destroyers, vented atmosphere to fake a reactor breach, then at point-blank range fired her ship's railguns directly into the Xerix flagship's engines. The flagship went dark, dead in space. The Xerix fleet, stunned, faltered. The counterattack. With morale surging, human colonists coordinated with the fleet. From the ground, they launched improvised missiles using mining rails as cannons. From orbit, Terran frigates picked off disabled Xerix ships like wolves circling prey. For the first time in memory, the Xerix Dominion tasted fey. Not because humans outnumbered them, not because their weapons were superior, but because every human loss seemed to make them fight harder. Every setback became an opportunity. Every wound became fuel. The Xerix withdrew, not in order, but in ragged desperation. Of 15 warships, 7 were destroyed, 5 crippled, and the rest limped away. Vega 3 still stood. Humanity still stood. The arrogant response. Reports reached Xerix High Command within days. They read of destroyed fleets, of colonists turning mining tools into weapons, of Terran captains rewriting battle doctrine mid-fight. But instead of caution, the Xerix answered with pride. Anomalies, scoffed the Dominion strategist. Luck and desperation. They cannot win a real war. High Warlord HFY slammed his claws onto the table. Enough. We will gather an armada and erase them. The Council will see. Humans are nothing but stubborn vermin. Vermin are purged, not feared. The Council chamber of the Xerix echoed with hisses of agreement. The Council reacts. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council reconvened in alarm. The Speaker of the Seractol replayed the battle footage before the delegates. human colonists in dirt-stained uniforms fighting off trained soldiers. Captain Reyes's suicidal maneuver. Zurich's warships retreating in flames. "Do you see now?" the speaker thundered. "You were warned." Some listened. The Latheri Commonwealth voted immediately for diplomatic outreach. Others sat in uneasy silence. But the Zurich's delegation only sneered. "Is this what you call dangerous?" The ambassador jeered. "3 ships scratching 15. We will return with 300 and scatter them like dust." The speaker closed his many eyes, weariness heavy on his frame. "Your arrogance will be the galaxy's undoing." Closing beat. On Earth, preparations began. The Terran Defense Fleet expanded production. Factories thundered day and night, and volunteers filled recruitment halls. Humanity knew what the Zurichs refused to believe. This was no skirmish. This was the opening act of a war neither side could walk away from. And if humanity had one lesson to teach, it was this. Once provoked, they never stopped until the enemy was finished. The war they couldn't win. The Zurich's dominion had underestimated humanity. Again, the galaxy's maps now carried red marks, denoting human-controlled systems, but the Dominion refused to read the warning in full. They believed sheer numbers and technology would overwhelm the fledgling human race. What they failed to understand was that humans did not fight like any other species. They adapted, innovated, and refused to break. High Warlord HFY's armada descended on the outer colonies of the Sol system with a force unmatched in centuries. 300 warships, thousands of soldiers, and weapon platforms designed to obliterate planets were aimed at humanity. But humanity was ready. The Siege of Vega 9. On Vega 9, one of the frontier colonies, human defenders had transformed the terrain into a labyrinth of traps. Cities were hollowed out with fortified corridors, defensive turrets camouflaged in rubble, and drones armed with mining explosives patrolled the skies. The Zurichs expected surrender. Instead, they were met with a wall of fire. Zurich's fighters fell to precision orbital strikes. Boarding parties found the streets twisted into kill zones, where humans used gravity manipulators and improvised weapons to ambush them. Losses mounted rapidly. For every soldier the Zurichs deployed, humans adapted a countermeasure overnight. They learned from each assault, predicting enemy maneuvers with uncanny precision. The skirmish at Titan Gate. The battle escalated beyond Vega 9. A Zurich's fleet tried to blockade Titan Gate, a vital jump point connecting the outer systems to Earth. The humans had anticipated this. Using asteroid fields as cover, they lured the Zurich ships into a gauntlet of debris, detonating explosives that destroyed or disabled half the fleet before it could even engage. Captain Amani Reyes led the vanguard again. Her flagship darted between tumbling asteroids and Zurich's warships, exploiting blind spots in targeting grids. She coordinated with orbital batteries and small strike crafts, creating a web of traps no Zurich's commander had considered. By the time the fleet realized the danger, it was too late. Ships collided, reactors failed, and retreat was chaotic. The Dominion scrambled reinforcements, but every human victory bought time for evacuation, reinforcement, and intelligence gathering. Humanity's speed, unpredictability, and relentless ingenuity frustrated the Zurichs at every turn. Operation Iron Fist. Humans were not content to simply defend. They counterattacked. Operation Iron Fist, a daring mission led by Colonel Marcus Huang, infiltrated a Zurich's shipyard in the Kiros cluster. Using stolen schematics, human engineers disabled defenses and planted charges in critical fusion reactors. The resulting explosion wiped out the shipyard and hundreds of Zurich's vessels under construction. For the first time, the Zurichs began to question their assumptions. Humanity was not just surviving. They were striking with efficiency and precision. High Warlord HFY's frustration grew with each report. "These vermin, they learn faster than we can destroy them," he growled. "This is not war. It is chaos incarnate." Alien despair. The Council monitored the escalating war with increasing concern. The Seractol speaker sent urgent messages to all species, reminding them of the warning given months ago. Humans do not break. They do not fear. They do not surrender. Other species whispered in terror. Traders and explorers spoke of human tactics, engineering feats, and battlefield improvisations. The galaxy had always underestimated the fledgling race, and now their ignorance was costly. Even the Xerix soldiers began to doubt. Reports of losses, retreating fleets, and the uncanny tenacity of human defenders circulated among the ranks. Whispers of fear, something almost unknown to them, began to spread. Closing beat. On Earth, the leaders remained vigilant. Each victory was tempered with strategy, each defeat an opportunity to adapt. Scientists and engineers worked in tandem with military planners, finding ways to turn Xerix technology against them. Civilians contributed as well, building weapons, feeding intelligence networks, and keeping morale high. Humanity was no longer just defending colonies. It was teaching the galaxy a lesson, one that no Star Council, no empire, and no warlord could ignore. The Xerix Dominion's arrogance had brought them to the edge of annihilation. Every calculated plan had been turned against them, every assumption shattered. And still, humans pressed forward, unbroken, relentless, and terrifyingly clever. The war was only beginning. But one thing was already certain. The Xerix could not win, not because humans were stronger, but because they refused to lose. The reckoning. The Xerix Dominion gathered its greatest armada ever assembled. 300 warships bristling with weapons, tens of thousands of soldiers trained in centuries of warfare, and orbital bombardment platforms capable of reducing planets to molten husks. Every calculation predicted a swift, crushing victory over humanity. They had counted without human ingenuity. The final offensive. The Armada emerged from hyperspace above the Sol system, guns trained on Earth and its outer colonies. Xerix commanders were confident. Reports of past defeats had been dismissed as anomalies. Yet as the fleet approached, human scouts slipped through the blockade undetected, bringing back detailed schematics of ship positions, weapon ranges, and fleet formations. Admiral Lena Torres studied the data with her commanders. "They believe this will be a massacre," she said, eyes cold and steady. "They are wrong. Humanity does not retreat. Humanity does not surrender. Humanity fights." The humans had spent months preparing. Hidden orbital cannons, automated defense grids, and electronic warfare systems waited. Starfighters were stationed in asteroid belts. Boarding teams trained in every conceivable combat scenario. The final battle would not be fought conventionally. The ambush. The Xerix advanced in formation, expecting resistance but not the trap waiting for them. One by one, ships entering the system were disabled by orbital batteries disguised as rocky debris. Communications were jammed, creating confusion. Starfighters darted through openings, disabling engines and weapons systems with precision strikes. Captain Amani Reyes, once again of the Vanguard, led a squadron directly into the heart of the Armada. Using the debris field and their own sensors, they created phantom targets, baiting Xerix ships into collisions and minefields. Entire squadrons vanished in moments, leaving the Dominion in disarray. From orbit, Admiral Torres coordinated strikes across the system. Each maneuver was calculated to maximize chaos and minimize human loss. The humans were smaller in number, but every move exploited Xerix arrogance. The turning point. The Xerix flagship, a massive dreadnought named Vorith, moved to rally the fleet. High Warlord HFY expected it to crush the humans' command center. Instead, it became a target. Human boarding teams, led by Colonel Marcus Huang, infiltrated the flagship using stolen shuttles and stealth fields. Fighting through corridors filled with Xerix soldiers, they planted charges in the reactor core. Moments later, the dreadnought erupted in a brilliant explosion, sending shockwaves that disabled nearby ships. HFY's pride fractured into disbelief. "This cannot be. 300 against." His clawed hand faltered as sensors registered his flagship's destruction. Impossible. But the humans pressed their advantage relentlessly. Every Xerix maneuver was anticipated, every counterattack neutralized. By the time HFY ordered retreat, half his fleet was lost, the rest crippled and scattered. The aftermath. The survivors fled into uncharted space, humiliated and broken. Xerx's colonies on the edge of human space were abandoned. Messages of surrender, negotiation, and apology flooded the Dominion. The galaxy had never seen an empire so thoroughly humbled by a species they considered insignificant. The Galactic Council convened again, this time in Solomor. The Serac Toll speaker addressed the assembly. "We warned you. Humanity is not a threat born of malice, but a force born of survival, unity, and ingenuity. Those who refuse to listen have learned the cost. Let this lesson echo across the stars." Other species nodded, some with fear, others with grudging respect. Traders, explorers, and diplomats now approached human colonies cautiously, aware that provoking Earth meant inviting annihilation. Human triumph. On Earth, celebrations were tempered with vigilance. Humanity had won, but the galaxy was vast, and other civilizations would inevitably test their strength. Still, for the first time, humans allowed themselves to savor victory. Families reunited, fleets returned to dockyards, and soldiers shared tales of courage and ingenuity. Captain Imani Reyes and Colonel Marcus Huang stood on the deck of the flagship Endurance, watching the remnants of the Xerx fleet retreat. "They didn't listen," Reyes said quietly. "No," Huang replied, a small smile tugging at his lips. "And now, they'll never forget." Humanity had proven itself not through superior technology, nor superior numbers, but through adaptability, determination, and a refusal to yield. The galaxy had been warned, and this time, everyone would remember.